Hello friends, in this video lesson we'll take a look how to make configuration of DNS, HTTP and DHCP server. We have basic topology which consists of DNS, DHCP and HTTP servers. Our first task is to configure proper IP addresses for three of them. After configuring IP addresses on three servers, we will configure DNS server so that it will give an IP address of SDU YEDU-KZ domain name. To activate DNS server functionality, you have to click on top of the server, select Services tab, and afterward you have to select DNS server configuration. In the field name, write domain name of the web server. In address, type IP address and click to add button. To take a look how HTTP server index page will be looking like, click to the HTTP services and you may edit it. First, for example, you may write SDU and YEDU-KZ. And now it's time to configure DHCP server. To configure DHCP server, also click to Services and click to DHCP. Here you will find that it is turned off by default. You have to turn it on. And you have to define default gateway, the DNS server's IP address, and also you have to say that from which IP address it will start to distribute dynamically IP addresses, and you have to define the subnet mask, which is actually defining the prefix. After you finish the configuration, click to Save button. Now it's time to take a look how laptops as a DHCP clients will interact with the DHCP server. And laptop 3 will get next available IP address in the DHCP pool. Now it's time to take a look how our DNS server is working like. In our second topology, we will configure router 0 as the DHCP server. To do it, first of all, we'll configure our interface with IP address. IP address is given to us in the task. We are turning on our interface. Now it's time to define the range of IP addresses that will be excluded from the DHCP pool. But this kind of IP addresses can belong to the servers, or they can belong to the file gateway, or any other IP addresses which has to be statically configured on any machine. After defining it, you have to create a pool. So pool is actually the array of useful IP addresses that are going to be distributed by DHCP server. You have to define network, which network is going to be distributed. And optionally, you can define default router. It's going to be default gateway's IP address. And also you can define the DNS server's IP address. But you have to know that this is optional. In running configuration file, we may see our configurations like DHCP excluded IP address and our pool. Now it's time to make a test that our clients will get IP addresses from the router. Switch from static to DHCP and you will see that new IP address is assigned like 1 and 10. Why first IP address 1 and 10? Which is distributed by DHCP because we define it that from 1 until 9 IP addresses will be excluded from this list. And our third topology, here we have two different VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. They are connected to the switch and switch connects to the router. We have task to create the VLANs on switch, and we have task to configure interface one of FA03 interface on the switch with the trunk. And in the same way, from the other side of the switch connection, we have to configure router with the trunk encapsulation. It is done by using the command encapsulation.1q, which is actually the code of the trunk encapsulation. Afterward, you have to penetrate into the sub-interface of the router. You have to create those sub-interfaces, change their encapsulation to the trunk, which you see on the screen like a .1q. And you have to give proper IP addresses. Now we may take a look for routing table. Next, our step is to configure excluded IP addresses. In this example, we have to configure two ranges of excluded IP addresses. Why? Because we are working with two different VLANs. And in the same way, we have to create two DHCP pools, which will be called VLAN 10 and VLAN 20, with the network ranges. And optionally, we may define the default router, which is actually default gateway. And optionally, you can also make configuration of the DNS server. VLAN 20 configuration of the pool. In running configuration file, we may see that we have two ranges of excluded IP addresses and two ranges of distributed IP addresses. Now it's turn to configure the switch with the VLANs. We're creating two VLANs, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. Afterward, we'll configure our interfaces as access ports, and we'll define them as the access ports of defined VLANs like VLAN 10 and VLAN 20. After finishing this step, we have to configure a FA03 interface as a trunk port so that multiple VLANs will be able to pass through that port. And will allow VLAN 1, VLAN 10 and VLAN 20 to pass through this trunk. This is the end configuration of the switch. We may take a look for our VLANs with its ports, and we may take a look for the trunk port that we configured that is allowing us 10, 1 and 20 VLANs. Now let's fast forward our time Let's take a look how computers are getting different IP addresses from different pools according to their placements on the network. According to their placements on the switch. So you see VLAN 10 computer takes IP address from VLAN 10 range, and VLAN 20 computer is taking IP address from VLAN 20 range. If we'll change one of this interface, for example, if A04 from VLAN 10 to VLAN 20, and if we'll reset our computer IP address, so that we'll see it's changing from 10 network to 20 network.